Hey, dang it. So this one is a guilty pleasure of mine. It's actually one of my favorite things to address. I've come across it mostly. I've heard men make this and they present it as a valid argument. And by that I mean it's a valid argument to them. But it usually comes from someone who supports a lifestyle of licentiousness. And I honestly just want an excuse to say it. And here it is. Why can't I sleep around with multiple women if Solomon had 1,000 wives? If I'm honest, if you don't really read the Bible, it does sound enough to scratch your head, be like, well, I don't know, maybe, he was in the Bible, we're all human, nobody's perfect, but I have just a few points, maybe not, to hopefully change somebody's mind. So, in order to properly address this, and I got my notepad right here, my handy dandy notepad. In order to address this, I can't even really start with Solomon. I have to start with Deuteronomy chapter 17, verses 14 to 20. So, that says... Oh goodness. Let's see. It is verse 17. He must not take many wives, or his heart will be led astray. He must not accumulate large amounts of silver and gold. Oh dang, I didn't mean to keep reading. But he also did that. But anyway, we're not talking about that right now. So fast forward to 1 Kings chapter 11, starting at verse 1. This says, King Shlomo, or King Solomon, loved many foreign women besides the daughter of Pharaoh. There were women from the Moavi, Ammoni, Adomi, Zidoni, and Hitti. Nations about which the Lord had said to the people of Israel, you are not to go among them, or they among you, because they would turn your hearts away toward their gods. But Shlomo, or Solomon, was deeply attached to them by his love. He had 700 wives, all princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned his heart away. For when Shlomo became old, his wives turned his heart away toward other gods, so that he was not wholehearted with the Lord his God, as David his father had been. But that's not the part that really blew my mind. What really blew my mind is if you fast forward to Nehemiah chapter 13. Let's see, starting at verse 20, actually verse 25. So Nehemiah had found out that certain people had married some woman from countries that the Lord told him not to. So this is what Nehemiah did. Nehemiah said, I rebuked them and called curses down on them. I beat some of them. I beat some of the men and pulled off their hair. I made them take an oath in God's name and said, you are not to give your daughters in marriage to their sons, nor are you to take their daughters in marriage for your sons or for yourselves. Verse 26, was it not because of marriages like these that Solomon, king of Israel, sinned? Among the many nations there was no king like him. He was loved by his God, and God made him king over all Israel. But even he was led into sin by foreign women. Must we hear now that you too are doing all this terrible wickedness and are being unfaithful to our God by marrying foreign women? So I kind of just wanted to throw that out to you. If you have, or you know anyone that is a valid argument that I can basically do what I want because Solomon had 1,000 wives, I implore you, please, by the mercies of God, send them this video and have them come back to the comment section and tell me how stupid I am.